Today, Treyarch has released 3 brand new teasers for Firebase Z, and these teasers seem to explain further who the 3 people are on the poster that we got yesterday. Something I didn't make a video on or cover because I was at the doctor's, and then when I got back, I was planning to make a video, but I got a little bit distracted by, I don't know, something distracted me. I can't remember what it was, but regardless, today I want to go over the different teasers that we got today and kind of explain what's going on here. And to do that, I think we're going to start looking at this one right here, and it's a black and white picture of some man that actually is not a random man, but is none other than Dr. William Peck. So let's go ahead and read what the heck is going on with this guy. So what it says is Dr. William Peck, 43, program manager at the Department of Defense, in charge of one of their directed energy weapons laboratories, doctorate in theoretical physics, age 20. With an IQ of 179, Peck shows exponential intelligence. However, he's conceited and an aggressive behavior has made him hard to work with. Reports say he displays a lack of empathy, which borders on undiagnosed psychopathic disorder. This has led him to be passed on for promotions repeatedly. Our asset inside the agency believes with the right career opportunity and payment incentive, he could be turned. He would be an excellent gain for the Soviet Union and would make an exemplary candidate for Omega's exoscientific phenomenon research lead. Dr. Valentina, Psychotronic Spetsnazgrupa, Omega, on March 28th, 1983, or I guess how they wrote it, 28th March in 1983. And this is actually incredibly interesting right here because we've wondered, or at least I have wondered with the people who have been into the story, have wondered why the heck is Dr. William Peck working with the Soviets or Omega Group, because he is not Russian. Like, by his name you could tell, not very Russian. If that was enough for you, you hear him in the radios or even the spectral reflection, he doesn't have a Russian accent in the slightest. It sounds very American, and this actually explains that he isn't Russian. He actually worked for America with the Department of Defense, but because of his not being promoted constantly, him kind of being stuck in the same spot for a long time and not getting promoted, the Spetsnaz or Omega Group saw an opportunity there and said, hey, they're not treating you right here, right? And what if you just come over here and we'll give you a research lead for exoscientific phenomenon? And that explains why he came over to Omega Group and is now working with them, which is very, very interesting to see at the very least. So it explains a lot about him and things that we didn't really understand why he was working with him, and it's just nice to get that little explanation. Besides that, I really don't think there's anything else to really point out here. I don't think the date is anything too significant. Dr. Valentino, we already know who she is, but one thing I guess we can mention is that they didn't call it Omega Group here. They call it Spetsnazgrupa Omega, which makes sense because I guess that's how you would say it in Russian, kind of, except not exactly. The Spetsnazgrupa is just different things because there's Spetsnazgrupa Alpha, which is a real life thing, and that's different. We'll actually get into that because another teaser actually has a relation to that. So regardless, it's the only other thing I could point out, and we'll get to that whole Spetsnazgrupa Alpha and Spetsnazgrupa Omega and all that good stuff. But either way, let's jump over to the next one, and this one is going to be on Samantha Maxwell, and this is a KGB Spets report on Samantha Maxwell and what they know about her. So first things first, if we look at the image of Samantha, it's actually explains a little bit about the poster that we got, because if you guys look at the poster, when the lightning goes across her face on the right side to us of her face, you see some markings, and people were like, what's that about? Well, it's just camouflage, as we could see her have on her face right here in this image, which is an explanation for that. By the way, she has camouflage on her face and she's in this jungle area, which means she was probably trying to do something here, maybe get in contact with her informant, maybe she had to go there directly or something like that. Either way, we know she is captured and by Omega Group, and she's being held at Outpost 25 or Firebase Z, so we know that that's happened, but it kind of gives us a further explanation. But as for what Omega Group's little thing on them says, it says Agent Samantha Maxwell is formerly an operative for the B&D. 6 months ago, she acquired stolen Soviet intelligence pertaining to Operation End Station. Soon after, she suspected she'd been compromised and went rogue. It's believed she has aligned herself with Requiem and the CIA. We have learned that she may have an informant inside our facility. She wishes to expose Omega Group. Whether those are Requiem's orders or her own agenda remain unclear. Report any sightings and do not approach. She is not to be underestimated. Dr. Peck, Outpost 25, Spetsnazgruppe Omega, May 14th, 1984. That's actually really interesting because they wrote it how an American would, which we know Dr. William Peck is an American now, so that's amazing because normally they just do it Soviet. But anyways, regardless of the small little thing to point out, this is actually kind of everything we already knew about her. We already knew she had an informant. We already knew she was like kind of already captured, and we just knew a lot of things that were going on here. The biggest thing from this is the image. But regardless, I guess the biggest thing is probably that they realize that she has an informant inside the facility, inside Firebase Z Outpost 25, which is something we'll get into in this very next teaser because it's incredibly funny and interesting. But regardless, I think that's about it we can mention here. So let's move on to the next one. And this is another report by Omega Group. And as you guys can see for the image, we have an ID of somebody. And I can promise you this is the other person on the, I guess, the poster that we got. And it's not Richtofen, guys. Stop thinking it's Richtofen. Stop. I know the big YouTubers are trying to get their clickbaits and everything. Stop. It's not. It's just not Richtofen. This is who it is. It's this guy. And it's William Peck and this guy, Samantha. That's who's on the poster. If they're going to reveal Richtofen or reintroduce Richtofen in the story, they're going to do it in a much grander fashion than a poster. Trust me, guys. But regardless, let's get into this thing and what it says. So what it says is Captain Sergey Ravnov, 32, strong, smart, disciplined, vicious. A ruthless killer as a counterterrorism operative in Spetsnazgruppe Alpha. He has served in the Caribbean, Central America, Angola, and Afghanistan, always leading his units with distinction. There are few as loyal to the motherland as Ravnov. Our request he be transferred to Spetsnazgruppe Omega has been approved effective immediately. His dedication to the Soviet Union means he will carry out any order without question, which makes him invaluable to our operations. We could use more men like him. As a true believer, we know he would never betray his country. Spetsnazgruppe Omega, 3rd April 1983. So this is actually pretty interesting, and it does mention Spetsnazgruppe Alpha, which isn't anything to really focus on too much because that's a real life thing, and that's not going to come into it. There's not multiple, or Omega groups. There's not Omega Group Alpha, Omega Group Delta, Omega Group Omega, and all these. Instead, Spetsnazgruppe Alpha is a real life thing, which it literally says what they do. They're counterterrorism, and they serve around the world. They're pretty much like the operatives, kind of like who go out there and actually do the so regardless, don't really worry about that. It's just because both Omega Group and Spetsnazgruppe Alpha are both under the Spetsnaz. The Spetsnaz thing about them more of like a CIA. Like not everybody in the CIA is going out there and doing like super ninja stealth stuff, and some people are operatives and some people just work and do science stuff like Omega Group. So don't really worry about that too much. But one thing that we have to point out is his name. So it's Sergey, hopefully I'm pronouncing these correctly, by the way, Ravnov. So Sergey Ravnov. And I can't help but notice his last name starts with an R. And I mean, if we think back to the previous teasers that we got, who was informing Samantha? I mean, they put the M for Max's, so that's Samantha's last name. And then we have the R as the informant, which obviously people want it to be Richtofen. It's not. And yeah, it seems like the most likely person to be the informant now is this Ravnov, because we know from the other, the other teaser, that we know that it's someone inside Outpost 25 who's leaking this information to Samantha. And the only person we know that's in there whose last name starts with an R is Sergey Ravnov, or however you say his name. But yeah, so it's actually, the reason this is actually kind of funny, like I mentioned earlier, is because if this is true, which it really does seem like it's true, that this guy is the one who's leaking all this information to Samantha. It's hilarious because if you look at what he says, he goes on a full paragraph of why this guy is perfect for this group. He literally says his dedication to the Soviet Union means he will carry out any order without question, which will make it invaluable to our operations. We could use more men like him, a true believer. We know he would never betray his country, right? So that's hilarious because if he's actually the informant, which seems incredibly likely now, I mean, it's hilarious, right? But regardless, as for what kind of role this guy's going to play in the map, because it does seem like he's going to have a role, because not only from the image that looks like it's going to be an in-game model, because why would you make an in-game model of someone who's not going to be in-game? Like, that'd be weird. But regardless, like, what kind of role is this guy going to play? I really don't know. He's probably just the informant for Samantha, and I don't know if he's just going to end up dying somewhere along the way after being found out that he's the informant, or what's going to be going on there, because we do know Samantha's also captured. So I just don't really know, but I'm sure he's going to have some sort of role to play in all of this. Which, by the way, guys, I have to mention this again, that's not Richtofen. It is not Richtofen. Stop thinking that's Richtofen. The R was not Richtofen. The guy in the poster is not Richtofen. Stop saying it's Richtofen. It's annoying. Just stop saying things that aren't Richtofen are Richtofen. Just stop it. Just when Richtofen pops up, we can call him Richtofen. But until that day comes, stop calling people Richtofen. Anyways, guys, I think this pretty much wraps up everything we have to say here. I think we got a decent amount of information from this. We got, you know, a little bit of what Samantha was doing, how she got captured. We got background on William Peck and why he's working with the Soviets as an American. And then also about Sergey Ravnov, a guy who seems to be so loyal to the Soviet Union that he betrayed them. So, you know, seems pretty epic. Anyways, guys, that's about it for me. If you guys did enjoy this video and you guys are hyped for the next zombie map, Firebase Z, then definitely do all that normal YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, bell, share, and all that great stuff. But I'm going to go catch you guys next stream video, wherever the heck it may be, and laters, guys.